Hello and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about the Oklahoma Sooners and their team is Logan Landers. How's it going, Mr. Landers?
Hey, what's up, Jeremiah? Happy Monday to you, my man. Always happy to be here talking some football, doing some team previews now. It's that time of the year. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Boomer Sooner today, first and foremost. I'm looking forward to it, bro.
Absolutely. And coming out of the NFL draft and everything settling in as where it's settled in, it has our eyes turning now towards the team as they're going to be coming during this season, the new blood coming in, the people coming up to be the new seniors, the coaching staff, and how they're going to put together all the pieces so they can be a world-class team when they come out and play all these other really high-class college football teams who, in a way, have had a year to prepare for this. So it's going to be interesting to see the different moves that people might make in this season versus any other season because they've had a more time or a different experience in preparing than they ever have for a season. So without further ado, Mr. Landers, give us your amazing breakdown of the Oklahoma Sooners, including everything that you feel are their strengths and weaknesses and what it is to be looking for this team's season.
Yeah, so Oklahoma, man, they had a solid season last year. Just came up a little bit short going into the college football playoff, getting that national championship, of course. But that just means that you can build off of that going into next year. You can have a lot of motivation from your team, and you can have a really good season. It's like, all right, we didn't get it done last year, but this is the year. And if you're a Sooners fan, you have a really solid team, honestly. You really do. Lincoln Riley's a great head coach. He's done tremendous things for the Oklahoma Sooners in previous years and last year, of course. So I think that is the main guy. Of course, he's done great things there. But the one key for me, like I say, it's mostly for all these teams that we've talked about in the past and in the future. It's going to be based on quarterback play. That is a huge factor. If you have a good quarterback, chances are you're going to have a great season. If you have the subpar quarterback, we'll say, it might be a little bit tougher. And Oklahoma, man, they might have a diamond in the rough. They have Spencer Rattler, who a lot of people in the media are predicting this young man could potentially be the next Heisman winner if all things go right. So I don't blame him. This kid threw for over 3,000 yards, a little bit under 28 touchdowns last season, and he's only going to get better with age, like fine wine. So I think that he is going to have a solid season. That is your guy. As long as you can keep him healthy, I think that, man, overall, especially as a redshirt freshman, he's able to do that too, which is even more impressive. At such a young age to throw for that many yards and to get that many touchdowns, and you can build off of it too. You know the playbook, you know the coach, you know your receiving core and all that. You know what you're going into. So I think that Spencer Rattler can go in there and have another great season and improve on his tremendous redshirt freshman season. Man, Oklahoma, they should be fine, I think, because I saw a few games early in the year. It didn't look the best. I'm not going to lie. It didn't look great, but I like the way this young man stepped up to the plate. And over the course of a challenging 2020 season, man, with everything involved, he was able to step his game up and have a really solid season end of things. So I like Spencer Rattler. I like this kid, and I think he's going to have a solid 2021 season. And he needs to, honestly, for the Oklahoma Sooners to get to the mountaintop. So I think that this kid is a great pickup, and I think he's going to do great things once more for the Boomer Sooner Nation. Also, hey, Spencer Rattler, he can't do it all alone. He's got to have a good receiving core with him. That is a very much of a key piece, and it's looking like they're going to have Marvin Mims. It looks like that might be the number one receiver coming into this 2021 season. He had 37 catches last year, which is pretty solid, of course. He's also got a great group around him as well. It's not just a one-man band. He's also got Theo Weiss, Jaden Hasselwood, and Drake Stoops. Those are just a few of the guys who could have a breakout year and really help out on that receiving core. I think that overall, if you can get those guys, if you can spread a little bit of the love with Spencer Rattler, man, if you can just get all those guys, get some touchdowns, get some great catches, some highlight reel looks, I think the Sooners should be fine on the offense side of the ball. They have a really good look, I think, for offense. Now, hey, you gotta have a good offensive line, and sometimes, hey, they've had a few key pieces leave for the NFL draft. Creed Humphrey, who we talked about on the show, got drafted, along with a few other names as well. So they got to rebuild that O-line, that's always scary. It really is, because you never really know how these guys are going to project because it's a little bit tougher for offensive linemen because they're very much a big size and they look great in high school, but you don't know how they're going to translate into college ball with an absurd amount of talent on the defensive line for all the teams they're going to be facing this year. So they do have to rebuild that O-line, and I think if some of the guys on that line, if they can step up, if they can have a good season, not allow too many sacks, of course, Spencer Rattler, their franchise QB, I think they should be fine. But it might be a little bit of a few growing pains, I think, just because, like I said, you got a lot of new guys in there, a lot of new talent, fresh talent. But I think overall, just give a little bit of time, get that O-line solidified. I think they should be fine. And then defense, too. Of course, you got to go to the defense side of the ball. You can score as many points as you want, but if you give up a whole lot more, it won't matter. So defense side of the ball, they can improve on that, no doubt. They can really help out Rodney Perkins as well, man. Hey, it sucks because your best players, they always get picked out by the NFL. You always kind of hope you get a guy that's like, all right, we're doing good. Maybe the NFL won't look at this guy just for a season or two. But unfortunately, that's not how it works out, man. So with losing Rodney Perkins on that defense, it's going to be a little tough, no lie. But I think that if you can get a solid, team effort based around that, if you can just get some great production on defensive line, get some sacks, get some tackles, of course, I think that Oklahoma, all in all, they should be fine. Caleb Kelly's coming back from an injury, so I think that if he can come back as well, he could have a solid season. And they have a solid core for their defense. It's just, can those guys have a good year? Can they have a solid, productive year built upon last year and get the Sooners back to the mountaintop potentially? We'll have to see. And we got to solidify that secondary first and foremost, man. A lot of guys, man, their secondary got gutted. They lost a lot of players, 3 or 4 guys, man. And it's going to be a little bit hard to replace those guys for your defense, man, because you got some guys that knew the playbook. Some got drafted, some went to another team. It's all right though, because you gotta have what's always the big motto? Next man up. You gotta see how these guys can do. So I think that, like I said, the defense and the O-line might be a little bit of a challenge for the Sooners this year, but if you can have some outstanding offense, get a whole lot of points up on the board, and just have a decent defense. That's all you need. You don't need to have lockdown defense each and every game. But if you can just have a solid defense with the guys that you do have and the guys you're bringing in, I think that Oklahoma can have a solid season this year. And I think that if all the pieces that I'm speaking about, if all those guys can step up and have a good productive year, I think the Sooners, man, they could get into that national championship picture. They could get into that college football playoff. But we'll have to see, though, man. You never know what's going to happen. And, college football is right around the corner, and I'm looking forward to it each and every day. Marking off a calendar, it's coming, man, and I'm ready for it.
I'm definitely ready for it, too. This is going to be a huge year. It's going to be probably, like, the biggest comeback year of college football history when it comes to the fans. And I don't think we've ever had a situation like this, maybe since World War II, but so things have never really completely stopped. So I think that we're going to have the most full stadiums we've seen in a long time. I feel like we're going to have the loudest, not most rowdy. I think we're going to have a very respectful crowds, but I think they're going to be very excited and happy to be back in these stadiums and back cheering on their favorite teams. Well, Logan, if you were to say one final word about the Oklahoma Sooners, what do you think is a good takeaway?
Yeah, so just the final takeaway on this team is I think first and foremost, man, is Spencer Rattler going to improve or is he going to have that sophomore slump? That is that's going to be the key question. I was taking a peek at Oklahoma's schedule, and they have a very manageable schedule, honestly. I think, of course, you got to beat a few big teams. You got to beat Texas. You got to beat Texas Tech, Baylor, of course, TCU, all those guys, Nebraska as well. You never know how they're going to do. So, I mean, if you can beat those guys as well as the teams you're supposed to beat, some of the lower ranked schools, I think Oklahoma could have a very solid year. Like I said, as long as everything goes according to plan, there's no big injuries. The defense, the secondary, the linebacking core, the D-line, if all those guys can come together and help out the offense, which looks pretty solid so far on paper, I think Oklahoma could turn a few heads, and I very much would not be shocked, Jeremiah. I really wouldn't if they are in that college football playoff this upcoming season. I really wouldn't, but we'll have to see, man, because it's always, you never know with all these young guys coming up. You never know if they're going to produce, if they might have a little bit of a struggle coming out the gate, or if, hey, we might see a next breakout star. You never really know. So, right. But overall, all in all, I like the Sooners team. I think they have a solid year, and I'm looking forward to see how this team does in their conference. So,
yeah,
Boomer Sooner.
Well, for everybody watching, tell us, what do you think? Like, who do you think will be the big breakout stars? What do you think of the big matchups that you're really looking forward to for this Oklahoma Sooners team? And if you're listening to us on our podcast, thank you so much. And if you haven't started listening to our podcast yet, please jump over there and check it out. We have a new podcast every single day over at 100 Yards of Football. So wherever you listen to podcasts, just jump over there, like on Spotify or over on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or anywhere else that you listen to podcasts. We are available. And so for the entire team here at 100 Yards of Football, I'm Jeremiah Long, the producer, and you've been listening to the Oklahoma Sooners team preview with our host, Logan Landers. And we would love for you to join us on yet another live video. And we're going to jump right back into another live video here in just a moment. So thank you for watching this one, and stay with